My name is John Petrelli. I am a motivational speaker, a best-selling author, and a fitness coach to some of the greatest names in Hollywood, like Grammy Award-winning artists Ziggy Marley and Shakira, and A-list celebrities like Sebastian Maniscalco. Everything I've achieved in my life has been built on two simple concepts: collaboration and my willingness to learn from my failures. I am literally built from failure. I empower high school students to see every failure as an opportunity to learn, to build resilience, and a chance to acquire the tools they need to achieve any goal they desire.
Since my junior year in high school, I had been thinking I would end up in jail or I would end up dead. And now there's somebody on the ground that could be dead and I have handcuffs on. We have to understand, everybody, that the thoughts that you put in your head, backed with emotion, will create actions. You have to be very mindful of what you put into your head and make sure it's fed by mentors, make sure it's fed by leaders, make sure it's fed by people that are gonna challenge you and lift you up. At that point in my life, it was everybody else's fault that I was in trouble. It was a teacher's fault that told me to put my hand down. It was a coach that cut me. And it wasn't until I would take responsibility for my own actions that I would understand that I could craft my own life just as you can craft your own life. And I don't know, maybe you haven't had this happen to you, but maybe you've been in a situation where you're like, man, things are tough right now. I'm going through something people don't understand. Finally, a police detective comes, and then he asked me a very poignant question. He said, what are you gonna do with the rest of your life? And I made a promise to myself that day. I said, the world may come at me with something. God may come at me with something. The universe may come at me with something, but I will no longer get in my own way. And I started working hard year after year. And before you know it, I ended up becoming one of the most sought after fitness trainers in the whole nation. Flying around in a private jet, working with celebrities because I decided to be a leader, because I got mentors. I started dissecting my life, y'all. And so here I am. I got out of my own way for all these years, and now life had thrown me a challenge. Day 6 into being paralyzed. I'm laying there in the ICU. And my neurologist, Dr. Rodriguez, comes in. She's a sweet lady. She goes, have you thought about what your life will be like if you never walk again? Maybe you haven't heard that in your life, but maybe somebody has told you something and you feel like your back is against the wall and you have no answers. But to me, it hit me like a shock. And I was trying to be respectful. And if I could have sat up, I would have sat up. And I said, with all due respect, Dr. Rodriguez, this isn't about me walking again, but this is about me giving back to all the leaders and mentors and teachers that poured into me to change my life. When you're up against a mountain and you make it all about you, when I was 18, 19 years old, it was easy for me to be defeated in the jail cell. But when I make it about you and I make it about my family and make it about how many people I can help, how many people I can change their life and let them believe that they can be a leader, you will find the energy. So they wheeled me out of a wheelchair after 10 days. And it was 3 months to relearn how to walk. And I remember sitting in my wheelchair, staring into the mirror. And I heard the voice of the detective when I was 18 years old ask me, what are you gonna do with the rest of your life? And I knew at that moment that this was what I was gonna do with the rest of my life. I was gonna help as many people as I could with my story of resilience, with my story of being a leader, so that you can be the next generation of leaders to change. If I can go from being paralyzed, if I can go from being locked up, if I can go from having dyslexia to turning it into a best-selling book, to turning it into traveling around the world, come on, y'all, what can you do? So I'm gonna pose the same question to you. Now that you've heard my story, now that you know how to perfect the art of failure, what are you guys gonna do with the rest of your lives?
One thing I learned from this presentation is that failure is a good thing. It's important. It's really like just a touching story. Everybody needs to know that it's okay to fail. Every time you fail, you're one step closer to achieving your dreams.
It's great to hear someone who can relate to the kids and just be honest with them about failures and how to be a better person. That's what these kids need to hear.
The one thing that I got out of his message that really inspired me was that your failures don't define you.
I thought John's presentation was very inspiring and impactful on my life because I can relate to some of the things he has said in his speech, and I think it could impact other people too. It's okay to fail at things. Failing is what helps you achieve your goals in the long run.
It really helped me because I've been going through a lot of hard times lately. When he was talking about his friends and peer pressure, that really helped him.
Hi, I'm John Petrelli, and I empower high school students to see every failure as a chance to learn, as a chance to build resilience so they can overcome their own adversities, and as an opportunity to use the tools they earned in the process to achieve any goal they desire.